Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Nathan's 3D Factory. In this episode, I'm going to show you how to do a multi-piece print and what you need to know on how to design something like this. And mostly what I'm looking at is how you hide seams if you need to make multiple pieces. Now, in this object right here, I actually have multiple objects, right? So, you see right here, I have all these pieces that I'm going to end up gluing together and get the final result, right? Well, so you'll see right here, I have this piece that I want to make it look like it's like a one-piece thing, right? Instead of two. Well, one thing that I do when I'm doing these things is I like to look at where the natural geometry is going to go, because a lot of people, they'll just like do a seam and then they'll expect it to be like fused together and smoothed out and everything, right? Doesn't always work that way. So what I do is right here, I have all these pieces right here, so they're printed as smaller pieces. And same thing right here. Right here, I ended up hiding a seam so that it'd be hidden underneath this object, and I could glue it on top, no problem, right? So that's a good example of just hiding seams. If you're doing something that's a curved surface, for example, you may want to have something that follows the curves of the topology. So that's a little quick tip that I have for you, is just hiding seams on this. And then typically what you want to do is that between the two of them, go into edit mode right here. And if I just go right here, I have these two objects. And you notice that I also put kind of a tab right here. This ends up kind of helping it to hide that geometry under that object right there as well, where you're not going to see it after it's printed. But anyway, I typically put a 0.2 millimeter gap between these, and it gives it kind of a reasonable accommodation between the two objects so it can be glued and it can allow for some expansion. Now, if you're looking for something where you want to have a separation and you want like a kind of a control joint, you'll see that these objects, I don't put any special weird grooves on anything to like fit them exactly in, except in this one instance where it's just a lot easier to model. What I do is that right here, I go into my local view and you notice that I put these grooves in, and then what that does is that gives me a reference place to put those objects to glue them. So these are some items just to help you get some like control over your mesh if you have to do a really big print like I had to do with this one. So this print ended up being bigger than my print bed, like I say. So you see kind of a faint outline of my print bed right here. So, um, so what ends up happening on this is if I select this, you'll see that it goes over the print bed. Most of these items I can actually fit onto the print bed without having to cut seams. But this one I had to make into two. So, but anyway, so it's a really huge print. It ended up fitting over my hand. You know, it was that big. So it's really great for if you're making masks or helmets or things like that. So let me know what you think of this episode. Um, and I really appreciate you supporting me on this and doing this every week. Also, check out my Patreon. So my Patreon is Nathan's 3D Factory. So I'm doing new models where I'm making vases right now, and I will be adding more things such as flexible animal prints, and these will all be made commercially available depending on the membership level you get, or you can go directly into the shop to buy them. So, let me know what you think of this episode. Thank you so much for supporting me. Leave a like and a comment to let me know what you think on this. And thank you so much for watching Nathan's 3D Factory. Have a great day, guys.